Good evening, everyone. Welcome in to a special episode of Vol Society Live. My name is David Morrison. I am the Vol Society lead analyst as we are less than 1 hour away until our beloved Tennessee Volunteers take the field and get ready to take on the Clemson Tigers in the 2022 Capital One Orange Bowl. I got my Orange Bowl garb going on. We got the chat room open up. Whether you're watching us on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, go ahead, leave comments, questions. Like I said, we're ready to go. Our founder, Brad, is in the chat right now. Says it's time, folks. It is indeed in time. Give our first shout out to Lisa leaving us a like on Facebook. Also, we want to thank our sponsor tonight. Yes, we got a sponsor. Tonight's Orange Bowl live stream is sponsored by Marley Pacific Handmade. So I'm going to bring this in. So Miss Marley made this wonderful University of Tennessee pillow for me. So Marley is not only a follower of Vol Society, but she makes these wonderful pillows. She makes baked goods. She makes baby quilts. Anything you want as far as like nursery goes. Go please check her out. The link to her business is on our Facebook page, Marley Pacific Handmade. They're based out of Memphis, Tennessee. She's based out of Memphis, Tennessee, and she has agreed to, like I said, sponsor our live streams tonight, both the pregame show and the postgame show. So thank you very much, Marley, for doing that for us. So, like I said, we'll everything that she makes is on the bottom of the screen. So definitely check her out. Uh, Brad says, let's hear our score predictions, folks. What is your score predictions for tonight's Orange Bowl? There's definitely some interesting scenarios for tonight's game. A lot of, I guess you can say, anxious moments, if you will. How Tennessee's going to look. Last time Tennessee played was the Saturday after Thanksgiving, which was a shutout victory over Vanderbilt. Clemson played in the ACC championship game back in, I think, the first week in December. Won the ACC championship, obviously, over North Carolina. Of course, the big story coming out of that is their backup quarterback that's going to be starting tonight, Cade Klubnik, getting the start. So going to be quite interesting to see what's going on. So let's talk about before we kind of break down the game in general. Let's kind of talk about who is not playing tonight. So obviously we'll start with Tennessee. Hendon Hooker obviously not playing. We all know his scenario. So Joe Milton getting the start for Tennessee. This will be Joe Milton's, I believe, fourth career start at Tennessee, second game in a row. In the Vanderbilt game, he looked pretty good for the most part, did what he needed to do. But this is a big game for Joe Milton. Shout out to Phil saying, I bleed orange, baby. Go big orange. Go big orange to you, Phil. Thank you for joining us. Paul says, hopefully there are no mountains that need to be a football thrown over. Probably not in Miami there, Paul. Probably just some sandcastles at least. Also, for those that may or may not know, I think most of our Vol fans know, but obviously being in the bowl season, which I don't agree with, but it is the state of college football today. You're going to have opt-outs. So Tennessee not going to have Jalen Hyatt, the Blitnikoff Award winner. Going to be a highly draft pick next year. And then Cedric Tillman, which not really surprised from Vol fans. Really, both of them not real surprise on. But not surprised as far as Tillman goes because he's been in and out of the lineup. He got hurt in the Akron game, missed some time, came back towards the end, but just never really got his footing back underneath him. No pun intended. And of course, Jalen Hyatt just took off and had a once in a lifetime season. Definitely, like I said, these two guys are definitely going to be missed tonight. Brad's are going ahead and give his score prediction. He says 37-34 Vols. That's a good score there, Brad. I'll tell here in a minute what I'm going to give. I say some Vol fans may be not happy with me with my pick. We'll see. but you look at what Tennessee has tonight. You still got both of your running backs. You still got Jabari Small, Jalen Wright, Dylan Sampson. So you got a good running game. Joe Milton can run too, obviously. Uh, and then as you look at the wide receivers, Tennessee, once they go on the up tempo, they don't really rotate their wide receivers except in dead ball situations. So, you're going to have Brew McCoy going out there tonight. You're gonna have a Squirrel White and Ramel Keaton. Of course, you still got the two tight ends, Warren Fant, playing in their game. Paul says, "How long are you going to be on the air tonight?" I've got a few questions. We'll go right up to kickoff. Go ahead, Paul. Like I said, as long as the questions keep coming and comments keep coming and viewership, um, we'll continue to go. And I know, of course, I'm sure our game will probably get pushed back because Notre Dame and South Carolina are playing in a close game. Mike says 42-21 Vols. Let's go. So Mike feeling confident about Tennessee getting the dub tonight. And then as far as defensive opt-outs go, Jeremy Banks, our middle linebacker, not playing tonight. Going to declare for the draft. Let's see. Paul says, any comments on the tweet that Devin Hyde made on Twitter? I hadn't heard that, Paul. What did he say? If you don't mind typing on there. But yeah, so Jeremy Banks not going tonight. Obviously, the last time Jeremy Banks wasn't in the lineup was our worst defensive performance. So is this defense going to be ready, and who's going to emerge kind of that quarterback on the defensive side? We really need some big time leadership because, like I said, you're missing obviously Hendon Hooker, you're missing Tillman now, and Banks is out. So can Aaron Beasley really get this defense going? Maybe one of the secondary guys, Flowers and McCullough, to get everybody situated because this is a really good Clemson team we're facing. I mean, this is not a Clemson team that, they were national champions a couple of years ago or 3 years ago, and now they've completely hit rock bottom. This is still a very quality team. They still got 5-star athletes all across the board. And here in a moment, we're about to dive into some of the key players to watch out for tonight during the Orange Bowl. Paul says, and I quote, "I'm not going to sign to a school for the name or to sit around for 2 or 3 years. I'm signing to go play right away, 100% #production." All right. So he's ready. Sounds like he's ready to go. And that's Jalen Hyatt's brother, if I'm not mistaken. Thank you, Paul, on that. As far as Clemson goes, not too many opt-outs for them, and players not playing today. Bo Collins, or Bo Collins, if you can go Cajun, wide receiver for Clemson, not going for them tonight. Then opt-outs, Miles Murphy not going. He opted out. He's another top pick. He was their edge rusher on Clemson. And then Simpson, who started every game and got injured before the ACC championship game. He's not going to play tonight for Clemson. But really, this Clemson team's pretty loaded and they're pretty healthy. They had some players hit the transfer portal, including DJ Uyongale heading to Oregon State, and then some other guys looking here, and hopefully this is right. EJ Williams, Bentley, the linebacker, Collins, another wide receiver. So sounds like Clemson. Sounds like they've had some players kind of hit transfer portal more than Tennessee has. Paul says sounds kind of unprofessional. Jalen Hyatt said before he got to shine will make him any difference. Probably so. Yeah, it's kind of a me attitude at least. We'll see. All right, so let's take a look at some stats for Clemson. Kind of watch out some players to watch out for. Like I said, keep the comments and questions going. Share this video out. And once again, thank you to Marley Pacific Handmade sponsoring the pregame show and the postgame show. A couple more shout outs on the Facebook page. Gary and Sue and Mike leaving us a like. Thank you. So, all right, let's talk about some players to watch out for tonight. Obviously, Cade Klubnik, like I said, really broke out on the scene in the ACC championship game. Tennessee's got to be ready for him. It's been kind of a recent trend over the years. Uh, with unproven quarterbacks or quarterbacks, has potential to be stars down the road, and we end up making them look like all Americans. So Tennessee's got to be ready for him. I mean, he is a freshman, but he's a very talented freshman. Now we're hearing talks of the big trophy that they give out in New York City to give to him next year. So, we'll see what happens. I think Tennessee needs to be ready for him. I want to see some blitzes and some pressure brought to him, even if you don't have a Jeremy Banks. I want to see like Aaron Beasley, Jawan Mitchell really go after him, and especially our edge rushers. Byron Young, who could have opted out tonight, is playing. So shout out to BY, going to go tonight. Mari Thomas. I mean, a lot of guys. I really want to see them pin Clemson back in their own territory. And I think if Tennessee can pin them back and, like I said, force a short field for us, I think that can be a big benefit for us. Paul says, let's talk about Nico. Everyone knows he's got to practice this week. Yeah. So for those who may not know, a lot of the incoming freshmen signed their letter of intent and is already on the Tennessee roster, including Nico Ilamaliava, quarterback for the future. Now, do I expect Nico to play tonight? Probably not. I mean, that's like a 99% sure he's not going to play tonight. I mean, he's just there to, like I said, get acclimated into the team and go through the practices and be involved. But I don't see him going tonight. Even if Milton does, something happens to Milton that he doesn't get to go, I think they'll just go with Taven Jackson as the backup. I don't see Nico ever. I don't see him taking the field at all. It's just a learning curve, and like I said, getting ready for the practice. Do you think he'll be in pads? Maybe. I'm not sure. I think it's just going to be a lot of learning for him. Probably holding the clipboard, maybe signaling plays, just kind of getting up. Just like I said, getting him used to it. Mike says, do you think the Vols D-line can stop the run? That's going to be a big key factor. And the next person is going to focus on is the running back Will Shipley for Clemson. Already over 1,100 yards rushing, 15 touchdowns. He's going to be the main key focal point in the running game. Like I said, I'll trust Rodney Garner. Rodney Garner, one of the best D-line coaches in the nation. So I think that can be a strength for Tennessee is to try to shut down the rushing attack. Like I said, and we've done a fairly decent job this year shutting down big time running backs. We did a decent job containing Jahmyr Gibbs at Alabama. The Georgia running backs kind of ran all over us. Same thing with South Carolina. But, I know in the Vanderbilt game, we shut down Ray Davis, kind of an underrated running back in the SEC, now heading to Kentucky next year. But this is probably the toughest running back since Gibbs that we face. And I think we can. That's going to be a big key factor. And I think that's working. Keep us close and try to get Clemson's offense off the field quickly. Phil says the D-line is going to shine tonight. I think so. Like I said, this is a pretty big game for the D-line. Like I said, not only try to shut down Will Shipley. Klubnik can run. He ran a little bit in the ACC championship game. I know when DJ was still running the offense, I think he was second or third in the teams in rushing. So we'll see if they can continue to implement that with Klubnik. Brad says, how many sacks are we getting tonight? I'm going to say two. I'm going to say three. I say BY will get one. I say Thomas will get one, and probably one of the linebackers. Shout out to my grandparents watching along tonight, and happy birthday to my grandmother. Paul says, I'm ready to scream brew at the TV screen tonight. I am too. I'm ready for it. I'm very excited to see what Brew gets. Paul says 5. Mike says 5 sacks. Okay, so taking the over of me, that's fine. I would love to take 5 sacks tonight. Yeah, that's going to be a big key factor right there. And like I said, third down is where we're going to be biting all our nails tonight, especially getting in third and long situations. We got to really bring pressure to Klubnik and see if we can force him mistakes tonight. instead of giving him all day to throw down the field and hooking up with Antonio Williams or Nagata, Allen the tight end. Even Will Shipley can catch out of the backfield. Like I said, I think a lot of the Vol fans are, in the chat room agreeing. I think the D line is going to be a kind of a big key factor. Brad says 5 sacks would be nice. Absolutely. Paul says who's going to be the starting wide? Who's the starting wide receiver going to be? I feel Brew's going to have a lot of pressure on him. I expect to see Brew be the X wide receiver, the main guy, and then I'll say Ramel Keaton will probably line up. If not in the slot, he'll definitely line up on the other side, and then Squirrel will probably be out there. So Brew, Keaton, and Squirrel to me will be the 3 main wide receivers. Obviously, the 2 Jimmies are in the transfer portal. You may see Walker Merrill come out there, maybe one of the other freshmen to trot out there. But I think, a lot of pressure is going to be focused on Brew. I think it's a big game for Brew because he's going to be the main guy next year, the main number 1 wide receiver. Brad says Ramel will have a good game. I think so too. I'm excited to see what Ramel can do. But yeah, Brew's the main guy. I mean, you talk about some pressure coming in as far as 2 years ago, Cedric Tillman really emerged, and then Jalen Hyatt had an All-American season, won the Blitnikoff, and now I think a lot of focus is going to be on Brew McCoy, not only tonight, but definitely going into 2023. And I mean it's kind of a tryout for him to see if he is the man, and I think he is the man. Paul says, I don't see how anyone would want to leave this team this year and enter the transfer portal. I know. I think it's a combination, Paul, of not just. I think it's a combination of I want to get on the field and I want to prove myself. So there's a lot of that going involved, and then also you have. I think it's also probably Josh Heupel being honest and saying, "Hey, if you're going to stay on this team, that's fine, but here's where you are in the depth chart." And I think a lot of guys are taking as, well, maybe like the 2 Jimmies, like, okay, well, here I am, number 4, number 5 on the depth chart, and then here comes Squirrel White and Miller and Nimrod, and could they go over me? Well, maybe if I go somewhere else, and coach kind of told me, well, maybe I'm not going to get in the starting lineup anytime soon, then that's when I can kind of hit the transfer portal. But yeah, I mean, so it's kind of a combination of, wanting to prove yourself to be, if you want to play in the NFL, and maybe being 4th, 5th on the Tennessee depth chart is not going to get you there. And, but I also see your point. Like, this is, and of course I'm speaking from a fan's perspective. Yeah, I would stay at Tennessee as long as I can, even if I was 5th, 6th on the depth chart. But, I understand not everybody thinks that way. And it's just kind of a combination. Like I said, with the 2 Jimmys gone, Miles Campbell's gone, Whitehead's gone, Lynn J. Dixon, former Clemson running back, was in and out quicker than a cup of coffee. So, definitely so. Like I said, keep your score predictions coming in. Share the video out. Like I said, shout out to Connie and Dustin leaving us a reaction. Like I said, thank you, Marley Pacific, for sponsoring the live streams tonight. Trying to think of some other keys notes to the game. I think, Clemson, obviously, I think a lot of even Tennessee fans have probably seen Clemson this year. Obviously, definitely in the last decade, but I think a little bit this year. Dabo Swinney, say what you want about Dabo Swinney. He's, one of the top college football coaches in the nation right now. Recruits, some high quality talent every year. And we see it every year. Shelly saying go Vols. Go Vols, back to you, Shelly. And this year this team is, we talked, I think we talked about on the original pregame show back when we found out we were playing Clemson. Back in 2021, Clemson took a step back. Didn't make it to the ACC championship game. Played it, I think, in the Cheez-It Bowl, and then they came back and back to where they once were. Dominated the ACC, won the championship, but then they lost to Notre Dame at Notre Dame, which was kind of a shocking loss. And South Carolina, they beat them the week after they beat us. So that was a big shock too. So Clemson, kind of like us, got a lot to prove too. Um, you know, it's they're trying to, like I said, they're still at the top of the ACC, but they're definitely trying to get back to that elite status. And watching Florida State last night in the Cheez-It Bowl against Oklahoma, I think Florida State can really give them a challenge in 2023. So Clemson definitely has a lot to prove too, including Gus. We're trying to cap off this magical Tennessee season that hasn't happened in a long time. Trying to finish an 11-win season, maybe finish in the top 5 in the nation by season's end. I think we probably will. It's like I said, this is something Vol fans have been dreaming of for a good 15 years to get back to this type of status. Paul says, how many players did we have graduate this year? Trying to remember off the top of my head. I think about 20, maybe a little bit more than 20. Now, of course, the extra COVID year, I'm still not sure who's eligible for that. I know Joe Milton can come back as a 6-year senior, which I think he will. I'm trying to remember who else. It's just kind of like it's one of those once that all these guys get out, then it's kind of back to somewhat normalcy to figure out who's still where and who's got that extra year. But I know Joe can come back for a 6-year, which I expect him to come back. And what you're going to see tonight, as far as the offense goes, with the exception of probably Jacob Warren and maybe Princeton Fant, is basically the 2023 offense you're going to see out there with Joe Milton running the show. You're going to have all your running backs coming back. You're going to have Brew McCoy, Keaton, Squirrel White in the wide receiver slots. The offensive line, with the exception of Darnell Wright, is going to be what you kind of see next year. So, I mean, it's like I said, we're kind of getting the early preview for 2023. Now, like I said, you want to finish this 2022 season off, get that 11th win. Kind of, like I said, a lot of the national media, kind of the national college football fans, which I know take it for what it is. They're kind of still looking at Tennessee like, well, you had this great season. Yeah, you beat Alabama, you beat Florida, but you didn't win the SEC East, and you gave up 63 points to South Carolina when you're ranked number 1, yada, yada, yada. So you're going to hear all that. So it would be nice for Tennessee to just go down there, take care of business, and put a big-time program statement win, especially for Josh Heupel. And like I said, this cap off this magical season. I mean, you as I reflect back on this season, you think about, back in the summer, we talked about this before, if somebody like a psychic or a genie or whatever, I don't believe in those, but just hypothetically for this conversation, if somebody would have told you, hey, Tennessee, you're going to go 10-2 on the year. You're going to play in the Orange Bowl against Clemson. Oh, by the way, you beat Alabama. And, you're going to drop to South Carolina. We'll be like, yeah, sign me up. If somebody told us back in July and be like, yeah, that's fine. Okay, yeah, I kind of stinks we lost to South Carolina, but, man, we beat Alabama. We're going to the Orange Bowl. And now once you see this season played out and you're like, man, we would have had that South Carolina win. Could have been in the college football playoff where, could be, playing Georgia or playing Michigan or TCU or one of these teams. But, it's the reality of the situation is that's why you play the games and kind of reap the benefits. I mean, I still think we should have really went to the Sugar Bowl and had the leapfrogged Alabama. But, I shouldn't complain too much because, like I said, we're still in a New Year's Six bowl game. We're a top 10 team. Depends on the outcome of the game. I think we'll still be in the top 10 by season's end, unless, we get a repeat performance of the South Carolina game. Hopefully not. But definitely going to be a key factor. As far as some keys go for me tonight, it's going to come down to, I think it's going to come down to turnovers and field position to me. Turnovers going to be a big key factor. You got two young quarterbacks. Uh, you know, Milton has obviously more starts than Cade Klubnik does. Uh, not much, but he does theoretically. Uh, you know, Milton's done a decent job taking care of the ball this year from what he played. Obviously, a lot of mop up duty. But like I said, can Joe Milton, still run his offense and try not to force any passes that could cause trouble? And same thing with Cade Klubnik. What's going to happen if he gets pressured in his face? And also kind of what kind of Tennessee defense we're going to see? Are we going to see that Tennessee defense that blitz back in the Pittsburgh game against Keaton Slovis and Nick Patty, that they were just running all over the place trying to make plays? Same thing with Bryce Young at Alabama. Are you going to see that? Or are you going to see that conservative Tennessee defense that you know Anthony Richardson ate us up at times, and then of course Spencer Rattler? So I'm really interested to see kind of the play calling for Tennessee's defense. And like I said, can they force some turnovers? And like I said, can Tennessee not turn the ball over? Well, we've done a really good job not turning the ball over offensively. Sure, we've had our fumbles along the way, but you know, obviously Hendon Hooker had 3 interceptions all year. So yeah, I mean, Tennessee's done a great job keeping that contained. And then field position. Like I said, Tennessee's got like I said, with Joe Milton, we know he can throw, like Paul says, over the mountains. But like I said, I would like to at least get Joe Milton as far as starting field position, probably no further than the 40-yard line. Now, like I said, I know he's going to throw a long ways, but I think having a short field position and getting quick scores and try to let Clemson play catch up. Because, like I said, Clemson's not going to go up tempo. They're going to run their version of a spread offense somewhat up tempo, but they're not going to snap the ball every 5 seconds like we are. Like I said, I want to see Tennessee at least get some short field position and let Clemson keep playing catch up the whole entire time. Now, like I said, can our defense get off the field quickly, especially on third downs? Like I said, we talked about the defensive line throughout this show. Uh, Bringing pressure to Cade Klubnik. Can we force him mistakes? A lot of people said we're going to get 5 sacks tonight. I think we'll probably get 3. We'll definitely get to Klubnik sometime tonight. But like I said, trying to get off on third down. Try to force Clemson in some third and long situations and play some good defense. Like I said, our secondary has been obviously our weakness. So Flowers and McCullough, Haddon, Rucker, whoever is going to be back there tonight's got to be ready for these third down plays. And like I said, maybe bring some pressure on third down. We play very conservative on third down and going to zone a lot of times. Like I said, I think we just still need to force Cade Klubnik into some pressure situations. North Carolina did not do that. And, North Carolina has probably one of the worst defenses in the Power 5 teams, kind of like us at times. Uh, that's probably why Klubnik went for 278 in that ACC championship game. But it's going to be a very, very interesting Orange Bowl tonight. I'm excited about it. I think obviously the nation is going to be watching it tonight. We're the only game on at that time. Like I said, this starts the New Year's Six bowls, and it's the orangest of Orange Bowls. So it's going to be a lot of fun tonight. As far as my score prediction goes, Brad said Notre Dame wins, so Notre Dame takes down the Fighting Shane Beamers. I don't know if I should cheer for that or not, but it is what it is. As far as my score prediction goes, and golly bum, this is probably where I'm have the chat turn on me. So the thing that scares me about tonight, Beamer the Clown, as Brad says, the thing that scares me tonight about Tennessee is not having the 2 wide receivers, not having Hyatt, and obviously not having Tillman. I think I like Hooker. But then also that defense, the secondary still scares me. And, even the playmakers, like I said, I think Clemson's got a little bit better playmakers on both sides of the ball than us. I think we're somewhat even, but I still probably give Clemson the edge. Oh, golly. For the first time ever, I'm probably going to have to take Clemson. Yeah, I'm going to have to take Clemson to win the Orange Bowl tonight. Spit it out. I know I'm beating around. Oh, golly. Clemson 41, Tennessee 39. I'm sorry, Vol fans. I try to beat around the bush for it. 41-39 Clemson. I'm sorry. I hope I am wrong. I hope Tennessee goes out there and puts 50 burgers on them. I do. I do. I want to see them. But, I'm kind of going with my brain than my heart. So, Brad says boo. And I even kind of told Brad, I was like, I don't think you're going to appreciate my score tonight. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Tennessee goes out there and wins it. So, go Vols, please. Please defeat Clemson. And it's funny is because I've got talking to, well, I didn't really talk to a Clemson fan, kind of hearing from a friend through a friend through a friend that's a Clemson fan. They actually are kind of concerned about playing us because of our up tempo offense too. And this Clemson fan that I know thinks we're going to win. So I'll go with us winning in that one. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun tonight. Once again, Brad says with our stars out tonight, Clemson is really the better team. So I agree. Yeah. So yeah, I agree. But like I said, I want to see Tennessee win. My heart is pulling for Tennessee. So once again, thank you to Marley. Like I said, making this beautiful Tennessee Pella for me. If you want to get your own Tennessee Pella or anything other nursery items or whatever, please search for Marley Pacific Handmade on Facebook. She's sponsoring our live stream right now, and also later on tonight or early Saturday. I'm sure this game will probably end at midnight. She's sponsoring the post game stream tonight. We're gonna recap it. So if you're still up late, we'll try to go on at 11:30 or obviously after the game. So we'll see what time it starts. But like I said, please join us for the post game show tonight if you're still up. We'll recap it. Hopefully Dave's wrong and Tennessee won the Orange Bowl and we can celebrate it. Definitely so. Brad says, I will say this. If we can win, then Heupel really is the big deal. I agree. I think he's the big deal right now. But, yeah, this definitely will set him up a lot more for that. So, like I said, we still got 25 minutes until kickoff. I think we've kind of covered everything. Once again, thank you, Marley Pacific Homemade, sponsoring the pregame show. They're sponsoring the postgame show tonight. We'll try to go on. The time still says 11:30 on our Facebook page, but that will be adjusted throughout the game. So as soon as the clock hits 0 and I run back to my computer, we'll hop on and do the postgame show tonight. It may be dark 30 before we get on, but that's okay. Like I said, enjoy the Orange Bowl, everyone. Tennessee, Clemson, top of the hour on ESPN, 8 o'clock from beautiful 305 South Beach of Miami at Hard Rock Stadium. Should be a lot of fun. Vols and Clemson. Let's go. Let's go. Let's win this Orange Bowl. Until next time, this is David Morrison. We'll talk to y'all after the game. This is Vols Society Live, Orange Bowl pregame show.